Hello, good evening, Cinema Satsang viewers. How are you doing today? Today we have a lovely guest with us, Pratik Kothari, and we had him once on our channel reviewing Jo Jeeta Wahi Sikandar. But today he's going to talk about a film called Purush, directed by Mr. Rajen Kothari, the late Mr. Rajen Kothari. And Mr. Rajen Kothari, as you know, he was a cinematographer, very renowned cinematographer, practicing cinematographer for 35 years in the Hindi film industry, and he has worked with stalwarts like Cham Benegal, Gulzarji, Prakash Jha, and Pratik, of course, is Rajan sir's son. And you may add, Pratik, the list of films goes on and on. The Netaji, and he got a Filmfare Award for Ghayal. He was also a member of WICA and very well respected and of course a very beloved teacher. He was teaching at a very reputed film school. He was head of department of Whistling Woods International Cinematography Department, and his students miss him, love him, and revere him a lot. And of course, Pratik is also a very good director in his own right. His short film Grill, streaming on Hamara Movies, just completed 1 million views yesterday. Yes, 1 million. So it's a good occasion to have you, Pratik.
Thank you, Kabir, and yeah, it's a reasonably good milestone one you spoke about. But more than that, I'm more excited about what we are going to speak. A film
Yes,
that
we
is
are
very
going
close.
to talk about Purush, Rajan sir's first film, Purush, starring Irfan Khan and Om Puri. And Pratik will share with us today some of his memories relating to the film and relating to his father, who was a great man. Yes, Pratik, over to you. Today I'm going to speak less.
Just to set the context, Purush film, I think IMDb shows that it released in '94, but I'm not sure whether the first release was in '94 because it released a couple of times, and तभी वो re-release भी हुआ करती थी फिल्में, अगर आपको याद है तो 80s 90s में, और मैं तो खैर तभी बहुत ही young था. One thing I remember is that one of the times that it had released in Plaza Cinema, in the matinee show. Plaza Cinema used to be a very well-known cinema in Dadar, and especially the Marathi speaking hub. So वहाँ पे release हुई थी ये film. और उसी दौरान ना बॉम्बे में 92 riots हुए थे, जिसकी वजह से जैसे हम अभी हैं, cinemas were shut, or if I remember correctly, there was a bomb blast in Plaza Cinema itself at that point. Not in that show, but some other show. But simultaneously, Purush was playing in the cinema halls back then. And the film is based on a very well-known Marathi play called Purush, which is written by Jayant Davi. It's a very well-known Marathi play, and the play used to be performed by Nana Patekar at that point. So that is what Purush is. And when the film happened, so it was Om Puri sir playing the same role that Nana Patekar sir was playing, and Ashwini Bhave in a very important role. Ashwini Bhave is a very well-known and revered theatre artist from Marathi film industry, and of course we would have seen her in Hindi films like Hina, then called Bhairavi. Then there was one more film which was Bandhan, I guess, which had Salman and Jackie Shroff. So Ashwini Bhave herself is a very well-known and by now a veteran actor. So it was one of her earlier films. And of course, Irfan sir, it was one of his earlier films. I think he had acted in Chanakya, which my father had shot. And eventually then they ended up collaborating on this. And this was like that one of those indie films, तभी की 90s की, जिसमें ऐसी कोई
Rajan sir's first directorial venture.
Yes, his first directorial venture, and a low budget film like how we
How
make
many
what we
films
call
has he shot? How many films did he shoot as a cinematographer? Do you remember?
Should be 25 plus. I don't remember each and every name, but like right from Ghayal or even before that, I think Damul was one film where his work was appreciated a lot. Then Zubeda, Welcome to Sajjanpur, Bose the Forgotten Hero, Mrityudand, so on and so forth. So quite a long career. I think he started shooting films even before I was born. So वो 35 साल में हो सकता है 25 के आसपास फिल्में की हो, मराठी फिल्में, बंगाली फिल्में, shot an Italian film also. In that sense, yeah, he was quite active as a cinematographer. So yes, coming back to पुरुष जिसकी हम बात कर रहे हैं, तो वो
और
इरफान
इरफान खान की आपने बात निकाली, तो ये इंटरव्यू मुझे तभी स्ट्राइक किया कि आपसे बात करनी चाहिए, क्योंकि हमने भी अभी इरफान सर पे एक वीडियो आपने देखा भी है शायद, थोड़ा सा मैकबेथ रिलेटेड, सो कोइंसाइडिंग विद हिज anniversary. So therefore, I saw your post where you shared that Irfan sir and Om Puri both have acted in Purush. So I said, and of course, Rajan sir's films, we should talk about it. Yes, please go on.
So पुरुष basically उसका plot line तो ये है, it is about a rape victim who eventually successful in getting her revenge from her rapist. That is the basic plot line. The rapist being played by Om Puri, who is playing the character of a politician, and Ashwini Bhave is playing a school teacher, a local school teacher in a small village where it is set. And Irfan sir was playing her boyfriend, right? So this is the basic premise, and the film is streaming on Z5. If people want to watch it, they can go and watch it there. So I'm not going to give away too many spoilers, but yeah, there are very many incidents that I remember because it was a part of my growing up years. So there's one picture that probably I shared on Facebook, which is a two shot of Irfan sir and Ashwini Bhave ma'am sitting near a lake, near a pond, and I remember visiting that location a lot as a child because वो एक काफी वेल नोन लोकेशन हो गया अभी. हमारी हिंदी फिल्मों में काफी फिल्में वहाँ शूट होती है. It is that महाबलेश्वर पंचगिनी वाई वाला area, which is almost become synonymous to a studio by now because every third film is shot over there. But I used to go there as a child a lot because my dad also used to shoot there a lot, right from Purush, and even after that Mrityudand Bandish. There was a series which my father was producing, Arjun Pandit, which had Raghuveer Yadav, and so I remember that lake or that small nadi where boating हुआ करता था and all of that, जहाँ पे वो shot है दोनों का conversation. And the funniest incident of Purush is that I played a small 20-second role in the film and I did not know that I was being filmed. What I remember of it is that I'm sitting next to Neena Kulkarni, who then I realized is playing my mother in the film, and my sister is sitting with another actor नीचे फर्श पे. हम लोग ऐसे एक सोफा टाइप होता है ना घर में, उस पे बैठ के टीवी देख रहे हैं और एक कोई बड़ा ही दाढ़ी वाला आदमी मेरे फेस के सामने आके धड़ से क्लैपबोर्ड बजा रहा है और मैं डर जा रहा हूँ कि ये क्या हो रहा है. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल the person who was doing the clap was looking very hostile because he had this thick beard and big eyes. So he looked very dangerous, though he was a very sweet person. He was one of my dad's long-time colleagues. Unfortunately, he's also no more with us. But what I remember is that clap, and I would get scared, and then I was like Alice in Wonderland. कि ये हो क्या रहा है? Then 2 years later, or maybe a year later, I don't exactly remember the time frame, I see myself on screen and I was like, what is that? How come I am there? So ऐसे ऐसे करके उसमें वो जो कहते हैं ना क्राउड, तो तभी ऐसा जूनियर आर्टिस्ट एसोसिएशन वगैरह नहीं होता था. अभी क्या होता है जूनियर आर्टिस्ट का कि अगर आप फिल्म मेकर हो, मैं आपके क्रू का मेंबर हूँ और आप मुझे शॉट में खड़ा रख देते हो, तो जूनियर आर्टिस्ट एसोसिएशन में फोन चला जाता है एंड दे कम टू चेक वेदर यू आर यूजिंग एक्चुअल जूनियर आर्टिस्ट और there are people from the crew who are being used to do a job that should ideally belong to a junior artist. तभी ये सब नहीं था और हम लोग तो I think my scene was shot in Bombay. So there are a couple of scenes where I can identify my family members. Okay, oh, that's my mom. Oh, that's my grandmother. Oh, that's my uncle. That's my grandfather. तो वो वैसा था, फैमिली में सबको कैमियो मिल गया उस फिल्म में. बट दैट्स द ट्रबल ऑफ एन इंडी फिल्म, राइट? बिकॉज यू डोंट हैव इनफ बजट्स टू to call for n number of junior artists that might be that the scene may require, and yet you have to make it look convincing, make the visual look convincing. So a lot of our relatives, uncles is that वो film में दिख जाते हैं मुझे कभी-कभी जब मैं film देखता हूँ, then it's like everybody in the family somewhere or the other is connected to the film. That's my strongest recollection of Purush, apart from the fact that it had some of that era's best actors and best Marathi stage actors, right? Chandrakant Gokhale, then Chandu Parkhi, and Usha Nadkarni. Usha Nadkarni played Ashwini Bhave and Neena Kulkarni's mother. Neena Kulkarni herself is a very, very well respected and a very talented actor. So all these people were there, and I also remember, visiting the editing room where वो स्ट्रीम बैक एडिटिंग होती थी, तो वो नेगेटिव कटता था, फिर वो जुड़ता था, तो मुझे वो बड़ा धुंधला धुंधला सा, लेकिन वो याद है कि मैं एडिटिंग रूम में जाता था। फिर कभी वीडियो कैसेट एडिटिंग रूम से, तभी तो गूगल ड्राइव नहीं था ना, तो वीडियो कैसेट आता था, फिर वो वीडियो प्लेयर में डैड देखते थे, ही वुड मेक हिज नोट्स, then again go to the editor and discuss. So that was the fun part of it. Another interesting thing is that though the film is based on a Marathi play, the screenplay, I guess, was written by a writer from Bihar. शैवाल करके हैं, जिनकी कहानियों पर दामोल और मृत्युदंड आधारित है। उनसे भी एक अच्छा रैपो था मेरे फादर का, because he was a part of all these films by Prakash sir. And incidentally, Shaiwal sir also wrote Das Capital. So जब भी हम इस वक्त Das Capital की बात कर रहे थे, shared a very interesting anecdote. ऐसे ही दामुल की फिल्म की शूटिंग या कुछ राइटिंग सेशन चल रहा था, and dad just handed him like 2 rupees and just उनको बोला ये रखो, तो like was bamboozled कि क्या हो रहा है. So he's like, no, my next film you are writing, so keep this, I'm getting you to write my next film. So then that film was Purush. Those are the memories, because I remember Shaiwal sir also coming to our house, and we used to have another house like a few blocks away, same गली में 2 building छोड़ के एक और घर हुआ करता था. So that had become into a makeshift office, and the writer used to sit and write over there, और फिर मैं वहाँ पे शरारत करने चले जाता था उसके पास. वो बेचारे लिख रहे हैं, मैं उनके सर पे कूद रहा हूँ, लिटरली मैं उनके सर पे कूदता था. मेरे लिए तो ये सारे पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंसेस है पुरुष के, अपार्ट फ्रॉम द फिल्म.
ऐसा बहुत होता है कि जो लोग the people who are successful in the industry, they have a separate house or a separate office to work, and not a corporate, not a very kind of, it's like a homely setup. More like a homely setup where they work, and
yes, it's just a space they need for their creative this thing. Yes. So Shaiwalji, because he didn't he's Bihar based, right? So he didn't live in Bombay. So whenever he used to come over here, first thing is that we had to give him an accommodation, right, where he could sit and do work, right? So that was one, and that was not even my dad's house. That was actually, that house belonged to my uncle. वो खाली पड़ा था तो वो यूज होता था. सिमिलरली जब दास कैपिटल बनी, तभी हमारे पास एक दूसरा घर था अंधेरी ईस्ट में, तो वहां पे सारे सेशंस होते थे. एंड फॉर अ व्हाइल मी एंड माय डैड हैड शिफ्टेड ओवर देयर टू डू द प्रेप वर्क, एंड दैट हैड बिकम लाइक अ ऑफिस टू work from, and all of that.
I say this because I've seen Godmother also, your dad shot, right? Godmother. I think that was directed by
Vinay Shukla sir.
विनय शुक्ला जी. तो मैं जब बॉम्बे गया था फर्स्ट टाइम, मतलब आफ्टर पासिंग आउट फ्रॉम एचआरएफ किया है, I met him. He called me to an apartment, which was his office, where he used to write. So I've seen these veterans, they have a space which is very homely. It is not like a corporate, you're visiting a corporate office. You're not visiting, they have like a home setup, and it used to treat you, very like a family member. Whether they gave you work or not, that's a different question. Like if you remember Kundan Shah's office.
That's what I was going to come to that. You had you had auditioned me for P से PM तक. The auditions were happening in a apartment only, right?
That was his office. That was his office, but it had a very homely atmosphere.
Yes.
Where he used to feed his assistants Parle G and bananas. Yes, just like the actors in Jaane Bhi To Yaro. Nothing. I'm not criticizing sir or anything. He was a lovely man, lovely person, and I think all these people, Kundan Shah, your dad, Rajen Kothari sir, they were all very lovely human beings as well. Apart
They
from
were also
being
batchmates, by the way. They were from the same batch at
oh,
FTI. Yeah.
wonderful, wonderful.
As you said, that casualness or that ease where, your
And
creativity to
that
grow.
was their, I think, whole personality. It was simple. Simplicity was their forte. They never used to show off, okay, I have shot these many films or I have directed a cult film. That you never got. They were very relate. You could talk to them, approach them, and I think that's why still I keep on looking at Facebook posts and of his students, Rajan sir's students, and they still I think miss him and love him. That was the hallmark of these great artists and craftspeople. You remember anything about Irfan Khan and Om Puri and uh,
Om sir, yes,
uh,
Om sir a lot because Om sir and my dad were, like they were also contemporaries in the sense that uh, they also did their FTI at similar times. I think they were ek batch upar niche the wo log. So Om sir a lot. Yes, I have had some wonderful interactions with him. I remember meeting him last on the set of Samvidhan where I was assisting Sham sir and he had dropped by at Film City and I got reintroduced to him as Rajan sir's son. उसके पहले पंगा नालो करके एक फिल्म डायरेक्ट की थी डैड ने उसमें ओमपुरी सर थे सो ओमपुरी सर से इंटरेक्शन उस तरह से रहा है and Irfan sir unfortunately I haven't interacted in spite of Purush because most of his scenes were I think in the outdoor schedule and I went on the set as this lost child only on this indoor, like not indoor, but बॉम्बे में जो सेट लगा के या जो लोकेशन पे शूट होता था ये एक तो सीन वहां पे कभी मतलब बचपन में मैंने उनसे इंटरेक्ट किया कि नहीं मुझे याद नहीं मैं तभी बहुत ही छोटा था बट yes we knew this name ever since even before star bestsellers happened and Hassel or Life in a Metro happened. So that name was very familiar. This is Irfan sir who has acted in Purush, and it was one of his earlier breakthrough roles. I think he'd done a scene in Salam Bombay. So maybe after that must be one of his earliest feature films, so to say.
राजन सर ने कभी कुछ बोला उनके बारे में आपको कुछ भी ऐसा
No,
अच्छा
that
बुरा
he, from what I remember a little bit, he used to say that he was an actor who liked to be very well prepared. So वो अपना homework करके आते थे set. So that was one real quality where he is there and he is prepared for that and he is ready. It's not that अच्छा जैसे अभी कभी होता है ना हम शूट पे जाते हैं वहां पे स्क्रिप्ट मिलती है राइट तो और कभी कभी ऐसे भी होता है आउट ऑफ लेजीनेस कि हमारे पास स्क्रिप्ट है हम ऑडिशन पे भी जाते हैं तो कभी कभी प्रिपेयर नहीं करके जाते ठीक से उसको पढ़ के नहीं जाते बट एज एन एक्टर दैट ग्राउंडिंग एंड दैट होमवर्क हैज टू कम टू यू राइट एंड you have to do that irrespective like I appreciate it more even now because now I'm a director also and when I make my short films or web series or whatever I realize that when an actor is throwing up ideas like ऐसे करूं क्या ये करूं क्या it makes me also think creatively it pushes me also as a director like somebody like Rupesh he was a delight to work with for me but that's what I'm saying that comes from preparation and that comes from hard practice there's no substitute for that so that way but yes my dad was also very fond of Irfan sir that way.
Yes, and your dad was a very meticulous person. I used to watch him in Whistling Woods working and teaching the students. He was a very hard-working man, very hard-working and meticulous person, always on the move. And, so I'm sure he'd expect that from his cast and crew members. So he has shot with Prakash Jha. Which films?
With Prakash sir, I think it started with Damol, then Hippe Purre, or I think Hippe Purre was shot first and released after Damol or something like that. Mrityudand, Dil Kya Kare, and maybe a couple of documentaries that I don't remember.
Mrityudand is, very, very, very popular film, right? Mrityudand. very popular.
Yeah, Mrityudand and Dil Kya Kare are, I think, more popular, and Damul was again very parallel cinema kind of a film back then. It won a national award, Damul. And Hippe Purre is, in fact, if you look at it, it is one of the first few sports films to come out from the Hindi cinema.
Hippe Pure, I forget. I've heard this name. Who's acting in it?
It has Raj Kiran, Dipti Naval, and Nikhil Bhagat. Nikhil Bhagat acted in a couple of films. One was with Shyam Benegal sir, one was this. So these are the main characters. Then it is Ram
कौन
Gopal
से
Bajaj
स्पोर्ट्स
sir.
है? कौन सा स्पोर्ट्स है उसके? हिप्पी पुरे
आप
में
गेस करो, आपको क्या लगता है? इंडिया में
क्रिकेट तो नहीं है?
फुटबॉल.
Wow. Yes, yeah, I remember vaguely.
It is written by Gulzar Saab. I think the screenplay or the dialogue, one of the two, is written by Gulzar Saab.
गुलजार साहब के साथ कौन सा किया उन्होंने?
So he shot some portions of Hututu as an additional cinematographer. The main cinematographer was Mr. Manmohan Singh, and after that, Dad also shot a series called Kehrir Munshi Premchand Ki, which was an adaptation or a retelling of Munshi Premchand's stories and short stories and novels.
Very prolific. Your father was very prolific.
Thank you so much.
और सिनेमा की यही खासियत है कि लोग हमको छोड़कर आगे निकल जाते हैं, बट सिनेमा में उनका काम और उनकी यादें और मेमोरीज सब कुछ रह जाता है. That's the speciality of cinema, and the work remains, the legacy remains, and your dad has left. Yes, your dad has left a great legacy for many cinematographers to follow, and you can follow in your father's footsteps, and we all can take inspiration.
Never learned camera. अभी थोड़ा सीख रहा हूँ कि यार ये
नहीं, बट आप डायरेक्टर बन गए ना, आप डायरेक्टर बन गए.
बट डायरेक्टर को तो जानना ही चाहिए ना, डायरेक्टर कैमरा के बगैर क्या करेगा. आई नेवर आस्क्ड माय फादर कि आप लाइट लगाते हो तो फिर काटते क्यों, और काटते हो तो फिर लगाते क्यों. So I was working as an apprentice with Dipti Naval ma'am, and Kiran Devan sir was the DP. So he would make me stand in as a model, light up for a particular character, and then तब पता चलता था ये लाइट हिट हुई, अच्छा यहाँ से कटी, अच्छा पीछे हिट हुई, अच्छा वहाँ पे हिट हुई. So that's when I started understanding the nuances of why the first of all the light is being put and then cut, and what plays happen. So that's how I learned it, because I didn't want to take the risk of asking that question to my dad, because probably he would have disowned me. So मैंने समझ लिया अपने आप.
मैं अपने स्टूडेंट्स को बहुत ही रॉ वे में बताता था. अभी मुझे एग्जैक्टली याद नहीं है, बट समथिंग लाइक कि पहले अगर अंधेरा करना है तो पहले उजाला करना होगा, समथिंग लाइक दैट. लाइट काटने के लिए भी तो, अंधेरा दिखाने के लिए भी तो लाइट चाहिए, तभी आपको लाइट का भाव महसूस होगा ना. Exact
point. And of course, like now so it's easier because we have these digital cameras who have like much better sensors, and you can work with much lesser light. But in those times, you had to use those bulkier lights to create that ambience, create that mood, create that feel. So वो तो खैर बहुत बाद में सीखा. I have one incident which comes to my mind to just wrap the conversation on Purush. Nehru Center in Worli. So I remember there was a trial show of Purush, और हम ना I think 7-8 माले पे वो प्रोजेक्ट था, और भाग के सीढ़ियाँ चढ़ के रील्स जो है मैं गाड़ी से ऊपर ले गया वहाँ पे चलाने के लिए. मेरे को ट्रायल शोज और सब बहुत फैसिनेट करता था. सो बेसिकली मैं जब नीचे आया, जब ट्रायल शो खत्म हो गया, तो भी उसी इंटेंसिटी से भाग दौड़ के नीचे आ रहा हूँ, और मेरे हाथ से एक रील गिर गई, और पूरी रील जो है वो पूरी प्रिंट जो होती है. Shit,
मैं वही पूछने वाला था. आपके डैड आपको ट्रस्ट करते थे रील्स के साथ, और आपने गिरा दिया.
हाँ, मैंने गलती से गिरा दिया, एक्साइटमेंट में गिरा दिया.
कितने साल के थे आप? कितने साल के?
बहुत छोटा था, मुझे याद नहीं है मैं कितने साल का था. मैं बहुत छोटा था. वो बैरली मेरे हाथों में वो पकड़ पाता था, है ना. उतना छोटा था कि मेरे हाथों में वो एक डब्बा आता नहीं था, और मैं 3 डब्बे साथ में लेके चला था, और वो भी भाग रहा था. तो वो गिर गया एक रील. किसी को पता नहीं है, बिकॉज आई वाज द फास्टेस्ट. सो बाय द टाइम पीपल nobody knew कि एक वो रील गिर गया पूरा नीचे.
क्रैचेस तो
क्योंकि
नहीं आ
मैंने उसको
गया?
समेट के रख दिया वापस.
स्क्रैचेस तो नहीं आ गया?
स्क्रैचेस नहीं आए होंगे बिकॉज इट वाज अ कारपेटेड फ्लोर और वो मतलब जस्ट थोड़ा सा ऐसे पॉप आउट हुआ था एंड बिफोर एनीबॉडी कुड कम मैंने क्विकली उसको रैप करके वापस रख दिया. बट दैट इज वन इंसिडेंट इन माय लाइफ रिगार्डिंग पुरुष व्हिच आई नेवर फॉरगेट.
मैं भी एड्स फिल्म में जब बॉम्बे आया था SIFT के बाद असिस्ट करता था, तो करोड़ों का रील्स लेके घूमता था शाहरुख खान के एड्स का. टैक्सी में इधर से उधर से इधर. तो इट्स अ डेंजरस वर्क कैरिंग द रील्स.
बट यू आर एन
समथिंग
अडल्ट ना.
हैपेंस देन यू आर स्क्रूड.
यू आर एन अडल्ट ना. मैं तो बच्चा था. दैट्स द
या
ओनली डिफरेंस.
स्टिल डर लगता था रील को लेके जाने में.
हाँ, वो शायद पापा को पता भी नहीं होगा कि मेरे पास था. वो कोई और लेके जा रहा होगा नीचे गाड़ी में, तो मैंने उठा लिया कि मैं लेके जाता हूँ. I used to love those reels a lot. I used to play with those negatives that you call or the reels. क्योंकि हमारे पास काफी स्टॉक पड़ा रहता था ऐसे घर पे. मतलब कभी 40 फीट बच गया, 50 फीट बच गया. यूजलेस है. So I used to play with them a lot. So,
Very sadly, the newer generation, most of them will never know the smell of the reel and
yes, the smell of the reel. Yes.
the feel of the reel, the look of the reel, how it was played in the cinema theaters. So we are going towards a very nostalgic
They will all
thing
have to
which
watch
the
Cinema Paradiso, basically.
younger generations might not enjoy this conversation.
I think they will because they would some point watch Cinema Paradiso and maybe they'll get reminded of this conversation.
And have you seen that film on PK Nair made by Dungrapur? I had shown it.
Yes, yes.
So yeah, as we were discussing that time goes on, but the legacy remains, and your father has left a very strong legacy for all people to follow, be it as a human being, as a teacher, or as a filmmaker, or as a cinematographer. And of course, he has worked a lot with Shyamji. If we can wrap it up, or if you have left anything to say. And Zubeda is one of my favorite films, Hindi films. श्याम जी के साथ उनका काफी अच्छा कोलैबोरेशन, right?
Yes, it started with this film called Summer, which was a national award winning film, but sadly never released in theaters in India. It was banned, if I remember correctly. I don't know why. Then there was this film called Hari Bari, which also did reasonably well in theaters. It had released in a couple of cinema halls. And then came Zubeda, then Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, The Forgotten Hero. Then Welcome to Sajjanpur, and then last one was Well Done Afar. So that was a decade-long association. So yeah, Shyam sir has been a part of the family journey, it seems, because my grandfather and Shyam sir were kind of working in Lowell Intas at the same time, because my grandfather used to be a still photographer and Shyam sir used to do a lot of ad films for Lowell Intas. Then of course my father and I have also had the privilege to assist him in Samvidhan and learn from him, and he has mentored me on some of my short films. So that way, yeah, with Shyam sir, it's been a very long association of three generations. Shyam sir तो अभी भी फिल्में बना रहे. I think he just shot something. I don't know whether it's a film or what.
वो तो टीनेजर हैं. श्याम सर तो अभी भी टीनेजर है.
You have met him, you know.
Yes,
you know how.
he's a very extremely fit and very energetic, enthusiastic, and of course very knowledgeable. And words are less, so like I'm falling short of words to describe. He's a legend, of course. And so your dad has worked with all these legends, and he's a name, a figure in himself. And let's carry forward his legacy. And I hope you can, आप उनका नाम और भी रोशन करें. And more success to you. And thank you for joining us and having this
pleasure,
lovely nostalgic conversation.
Pleasure.
Hope to see you soon more on Cinema Satsang.
So guys, for more such interesting videos on cinema, please like, share and subscribe to Cinema Satsang's YouTube channel. Thank you.